Pick.Click.Give was created by the Alaska legislature in 2008. It actually had to be passed into law because it's affiliated with the state's permanent fund dividend program. So 2009 was the first year that Pick.Click.Give was an option for Alaskans who are filing online for the PFD. Pick.Click.Give is only an option for those who file online for the PFD. The legislature drafted the law that way in order to keep the costs of the program down. It would just be a lot easier for them to administer the program through their online filing system as opposed to the paper filing system that some Alaskans still use. And the program allows Alaskans who are filing for their PFD to donate to charitable organizations, University of Alaska campuses, community foundations, and educational organizations. And really the whole goal of this program is to increase individual charitable giving. So we're really trying to offer Alaskans a new, easy way to make donations to nonprofit organizations. And Pick.Click.Give is really a partnership between a lot of different organizations. The Rasmussen Foundation provided a lot of the startup funding and continue to provide funding to support the statewide outreach campaign. The Foraker Group coordinates all of these training sessions for the nonprofits who participate. The United Way of Anchorage works with the state, so they process the checks for your Pick.Click.Give donations, and they also distribute the donor lists as well as managing the application process. So each spring organizations are invited to apply to be on Pick.Click.Give for the following year, and the United Way of Anchorage reviews those applications and passes them along to the state for approval. The Alaska Community Foundation is where I work, and it also is where the funds that support the marketing campaign are managed. And then, of course, the State of Alaska Department of Revenue Permanent Fund Dividend Division actually administers the action of Pick.Click.Give as part of their PFD application. So basically, the process of how Pick.Click.Give works is when Alaskans are filing for their PFDs, which occurs January 1st through March 31st, they have the option at the end of their PFD application to donate directly from their PFD to one or more of 500 plus organizations. I believe in 2015 we will be welcoming 540 different organizations to Pick.Click.Give, and Alaskans are allowed to donate in $25 increments, so $25 being the lowest level of donation all the way up to the PFD division actually tries to estimate what the top end of the PFD may be. So all right, I just got a message from Rod Coop that he is seeing the presentation, but he cannot hear the call. So if anyone else is experiencing that issue, if you could type that into the chat box. And in the meantime, I think Heather Harris from Foraker Group might be able to message Rod to figure out what's going on there. I'm going to go ahead and continue. If anyone else is having trouble with the audio, please type that into the chat box. So once Alaskans have made those donations, in early April, following the PFD filing deadline, the state of Alaska publishes those pledge totals. And this amount, just so you know, is likely to change before the actual payout in October. And there are a lot of different factors that affect that April pledge total. The first being that Alaskans actually have the option to log back into their PFD application until August 31st. And they can add donations, they can change the amount they've donated, or they can actually withdraw their donations. Other things that might affect the difference between your pledge total and your payout include people who have garnishments against their PFDs, so they've made a pledge to your organization, but in the end their PFD ends up being garnished for one reason or another, applications that end up being denied, that sort of thing. So the amount that you are told has been pledged to in April may change by the time it's paid out in October, for better or for worse. So just keep that in mind. And then checks and donor lists are mailed from United Way of Anchorage to all of the participating organizations by the end of October. So Pick.Click.Give has been around for the past 6 years. We're starting our 7th year next year. And in those 6 years, more than $10.5 million has been raised for Alaska charities. This graph just gives you an idea of how the program has grown over time. You'll notice that in the first couple of years of the program it was growing at a really rapid rate. More and more Alaskans were finding out about it and really jumping in on those first few years. You will also notice that the program has grown every year it's been in existence and continues to grow at a steady rate. So one of the purposes of this webinar was to go over some of the recent legislative changes that were made to the program. This year, in 2014, a bill passed the legislature. It was House Bill 75, and it was sponsored by Representative Paul Seaton from Homer. The bill had a lot of support in the legislature. Both the House and the Senate voted unanimously in favor of the bill, and the governor signed it this summer. It makes 3 substantive changes to the Pick.Click.Give program. The first is something that many nonprofits around Alaska were asking for and worked very hard to get through the legislature, and that was to change the audit requirement. When Pick.Click.Give originally started, it required that organizations with a budget over $250,000 provide a financial audit as part of their application. And starting next year, organizations will only be asked to provide an audit if they have a budget over $500,000. This $500,000 level matches federal requirements for financial audits, and so what was happening before was that many mid-sized nonprofits with budgets between $250,000 and $500,000 were having to provide audits only for Pick.Click.Give. They weren't really required to get them for other activities. So we hope that with this change, we'll see more of Alaska's mid-sized nonprofits becoming eligible for the program, and the audit requirement will be consistent with federal requirements going forward. The second big change is that a 7% coordination fee will be withheld from the payouts to support the statewide campaign. These funds are going to help pay for the statewide advertising, the training and resources for nonprofits, like these webinars, like the toolkits that we developed, the pickclickgive.org website, and dedicated program staff. So Pick.Click.Give will continue to operate at no additional cost to the PFD division or state government, and that's actually something that was part of the original legislation, was that the program could not incur any additional costs to the state. And finally, the University of Alaska campuses will be required to apply to the program rather than being automatically listed, which was something that was part of the original legislation that seemed to make sense to change going forward. So the 7% fee will go into effect starting in 2015, and the audit requirement, the bill did not pass in time for those who are applying to the program for 2015, but those organizations who apply next year to be part of the program in 2016 will be under those new audit requirements. Give me just a second there. I think we skipped ahead. All right. So many of you are probably thinking about how you can be getting prepared for your Pick.Click.Give campaign. November is a great month to do all of your planning. So I would suggest that you take a little bit of time to schedule all of your content, whether it's through your newsletters, your emails, your social media program, however you are already reaching out to your audiences, schedule some Pick.Click.Give content in there. And that means thinking about how you're going to communicate how these funds are going to be used, maybe tell the story of what your organization does and who it helps. And it's always a good idea to look around and see how you might be able to team up with other Pick.Click.Give nonprofits. So whether that's other nonprofits in your area or nonprofits that have a similar sort of cause type that you do or provide similar services. I know that in the Mat-Su several years ago, Mat-Su organizations formed a local group called Pick.Click.Give Mat-Su, and that also happened last year on the Kenai Peninsula. And through that collaboration, they were able to pool a little bit of resources in order to record some radio ads and coordinate, public speaking opportunities and things like that. So if there's an opportunity to team up with others, other Pick.Click.Give nonprofits in your area, I definitely recommend that you do that. Another tactic that has been successful, I'm thinking of the Alaska Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. They have a partnership with the Lions Club, and the Lions Club will match Pick.Click.Give gifts up to a certain level. So if there is a local business or service group that you have a relationship with or that you've always wanted to find a way to partner with, getting them to match your Pick.Click.Give gifts would be a great activity to pursue in the month of November. And I'm going to take a quick break to answer a question from the chat box from Sarah. She's asking about the 7%. Is it above and beyond the application fee that organizations pay? The answer to that is yes, it is. And how will it be communicated to the donors? That's a really good question as well. It's going to be part of the Pick.Click.Give action on the PFD website. So donors will be aware that a percentage of their donation is going to support the Pick.Click.Give program as a whole and all of the resources that are offered. In December, just to give you a heads up, our statewide marketing campaign will start towards the middle of December, and it's really a great time for you to start ramping up your Pick.Click.Give efforts. Some of the ideas that you might want to think about are including the Pick.Click.Give or Love Alaska logo and your e-signatures for all of your staff, your board members, your volunteers. Something that I think often gets overlooked with Pick.Click.Give is using this as an opportunity to make direct asks to potential donors. So consider encouraging your board, your staff, all of your volunteers and supporters to reach out to their friends and family about donating through Pick.Click.Give. We all know through donor practices that really the most powerful tool we have is that direct ask, and so don't neglect to think of ways to use Pick.Click.Give as a reason to have a conversation with someone and recruit them to donate to your organization. All of our logos are available to you for your use, so I encourage you to put them on your website, in your newsletters, emails, things like that. December is a great time to start sharing stories and photos on social media, so letting donors know what you're doing, what your goals are, what those funds will be used for, and make sure to schedule emails to your supporters and donors asking them to Pick.Click.Give when they file for their PFD. And you want to place a lot of your ads and promotions to run in late December and early January. And we recommend that timeline because 60% of Alaskans who file for the PFD do it in the month of January. And 40% of those who file do it within the first 2 weeks of January. So those first couple weeks of January are really heavy filing period time. And you want to make sure that you get your stories and your requests out to donors in advance of January 1st, so that when they go to file those first few days of January, they've already heard from your organization and know why they should be giving to you. So Pick.Click.Give.org, if you haven't already been to the website, I encourage you to bookmark it. It's really designed to be a resource, and it's designed to be a resource both to donors and to the nonprofits who participate in the program. One of the ways that we've designed it to be a resource to donors is to give them a tool to sort of look through all of their Pick.Click.Give options to decide which organizations they want to give to. And I pulled up one organizational profile page as an example. So each organization that's part of Pick.Click.Give has a profile page on our website. You should have recently gotten an email from our webmaster with your username and password that encouraged you to come in and update your profile. Most organizations have done a good job about that, but believe it or not, there are still some that have a blank page. So when someone comes to our website trying to figure out who to Pick.Click.Give to, you want to make sure that when they click on the name of your organization that they're coming to a page like this that really gives them a good understanding of what your organization does and why it's important that they donate to you. You'll notice that we post your past Pick.Click.Give pledge information. We leave an opportunity for you to share some photos, and then towards the bottom of the screen, it didn't make it to this page, but there is a place for you to upload a video. So those pictures and the video can be things that you already have on hand that you just upload, and make sure you write a great message about what your organization does and how those Pick.Click.Give funds will make a difference. Now, one of the ways that Pick.Click.Give is designed to be a resource for the nonprofits is our nonprofit toolkit. And this is just a screenshot of what it looks like when you click through to the toolkit. You'll see that all of our logos and social media cover photos and things like that have been posted here so that you can just right-click, save it to your desktop, and then apply it to the materials that you're working on. We have some templates in there. We have a bunch of different logo treatments. And we really encourage you to use those in whatever way you see fit. If you want to modify it so that it is showing up in the colors that you use for your organization, or kind of do some sort of mashup, we really love to see you using these materials in ways that make them unique to your organization. So this is just an example of the kinds of things that you'll find within the toolkit. Email signatures, different treatments of the logo, Facebook profile pictures. So take a look through there, and don't be shy about using them. So in the 2015 campaign, we're going to continue with our Love Alaska campaign theme. And some of you might recognize these images from our campaign last year. These are still shots from our commercials that were arranged in this tile format for Facebook cover photos. And I wanted to show you some examples in the next few minutes of how different organizations have used the Love Alaska campaign theme and the Pick.Click.Give logo to be more applicable to their own organizations and kind of customize things. So a couple of different organizations did their own spin on this Facebook cover photo. The first was from the SPCA. And I thought this was a great creative way to reference the campaign theme, but really make it all about their organization and their mission. And here's another example from Narvi at the People's Learning Center in Bethel. Some really great images that they already had on hand that really tells a story of all of the ways that they are training residents and giving opportunity to people up there. and puts kind of a local spin on Love Alaska and instead makes it more regional and relevant to those donors. This is a Facebook post from the Kenai Watershed Forum, and I loved this idea. Jocelyn is pictured there. She's their development director, and she took the Love Alaska Pick.Click.Give logo and just had an inexpensive sign printed, and they did it in blue because that's their color, and took it to a very sort of recognizable location, a viewing platform that their organization built. You'll see that there's over 100 likes for this post and a great little message. You'll also notice the date it was published, December 19th, so she's getting out there kind of ahead of the curve, making sure that her organization is on people's mind when they go to file January 1st. This also is from the Kenai Watershed Forum. I received this in the mail. It was just a small postcard, and it didn't look like it was terribly expensive to produce. Again, they took our logo but applied it to a very recognizable image from their area, and on the back was a great reminder to Pick.Click.Give. I think I got this postcard sometime between Christmas and New Year, which I think is really the sweet spot for direct mail when it comes to Pick.Click.Give, because you're hitting them right before January 1st when, you know, a lot of people go online to file. Speaking of collaboration between like-minded organizations, the Anchorage Youth Development Corporation spearheaded kind of pulling together Anchorage-based nonprofits that are Pick.Click.Give participants that also serve young people. So this was an example of organizations getting together under the similar cause type banner, and they took our logo and customized it and did some great promotions with it. They had some t-shirts made. You'll see they had some posters professionally printed that talked about all of the youth serving organizations in Anchorage that are Pick.Click.Give eligible. And then they got a group of volunteers together to march in the Fur Rondi Parade with their shirts and some signs, and they took this great photo, which they then posted to Facebook, and we stole from them and also posted because it's such a great, fun picture. The Make-A-Wish Foundation, I thought, did something clever with the Pick.Click.Give logo and modified it to be Pick.Click.Give a Wish. I thought that was a pretty clever way to put a spin on it, and again, they were using social media to promote it. All of these examples are from social media, and I think that's because we've seen that organizations are having a great deal of success focusing their promotion efforts in this area because it's relatively inexpensive to produce these materials, and still it's fairly cheap to advertise on social media, so it doesn't cost a lot to promote a post, to have a Facebook ad campaign. And the Make-A-Wish organization also had these cover photos posted on their website with instructions on how their supporters could right-click and save and make this their own Facebook cover photo or profile picture if they wished. Alaska Child and Family did quite a bit of sort of customized pictures. This was, I think, their Valentine's Day picture, which I thought was a very cute way to reference Love Alaska and Pick.Click.Give on a holiday. It had some good traction, and it seemed like it would have been a fairly easy thing to produce. I thought they also did a great job of making sure they got their own logo on there as well as the Love Alaska Pick.Click.Give, and a nice message to remind people to make a gift to them on Valentine's Day. And another example from Alaska Child and Family, this time they got their website on there. And it looks like they just printed, you know, some pictures with Pick.Click.Give on it and took some cute photos. Again, I don't think it took a lot of time, but I think these sort of social media images are really powerful and really important to telling your story and attracting some new donors. The Food Bank of Alaska produced this for their Facebook page, and again, they're just taking that Love Alaska campaign theme and making it relevant to their organization, Love Alaska, with a gift to end hunger. And I would also say that just from the Pick.Click.Give Facebook page, the things that we see having the most response and most engagement from users often are ones that acknowledge donors and thank them for what they're doing. And you don't necessarily have to wait until the very end to start thanking people. This photo probably took a few minutes and a marker and some cardboard and maybe a couple of minutes to get everyone out in the parking lot, but you'll see it has over 100 likes. I think it ended up with far more than that. They put this out in the beginning of April when they found out what their pledge total was, and again, they're using that, referencing that Love Alaska theme in the text there, but it was just a really fun way to thank their donors. And so when it comes to your social media outreach, I'd encourage you to be creative, to use the iPhone in your pocket to take the picture, to not worry too much about things being perfect or super high quality photos or video, but to take advantage of the opportunity to do something quick and do something unique and get it out there. So it's about 10:30, and I think it would be a great time to open it up to questions. If you have anything you want to ask, please go ahead and put it in the chat box there. I'm going to leave this last slide up while we continue answering questions. These resources are really here for you. If you go into pickclickgive.org, there's a whole section of the website called Info for Nonprofits. And that's where you're going to find the toolkit, FAQs about the program, how it works, how you qualify, information about these trainings and how you sign up. We've also archived training sessions from last year. So these would be like recordings of the webinars we did last year that include the narration from the presenter and any of the questions that were asked, and those are on our YouTube channel. So Pick.Click.Give's YouTube channel is where you can find those archived trainings as well as videos and things like that that we've produced. If you're short on time or you just don't find a lot of value in the narration, you can check out just the slide decks from our Pick.Click.Give trainings on our SlideShare account, and we are PCGAK there. And then I am here to be a resource to you. So if you have questions or you need something from the campaign, or you think there's something we could be doing that would be really helpful or supportive to you, we want to hear about it. So just reach out and shoot me an email. I'd be happy to hear your ideas or brainstorm with you. Whatever it is you need, please don't hesitate to be in touch. So I'll keep it open for another minute or two. I'm not seeing any new questions. One from Rod is asking if the presentation is available as a PowerPoint. Yes, Rod, it is. And I'll make sure that we get that emailed out to all of you as well as posted to our SlideShare account. Oh, that's a good question coming in from Karen, and she's asking when registration for Pick.Click.Give will open next year. Applications will be available on our website starting February 1st, and they are due on March 31st. And I would recommend that you put those dates in your calendar right now, because that March 31st deadline was actually set in statute by the legislature. So what that means is that we don't have any flexibility when it comes to taking late applications. It's an actual state law, so you have to get your application in by March 31st. And every year there are some really well-meaning organizations that end up missing that deadline. So don't be one of them. Put that March 31st deadline in your calendar now, and mark February 1st as the date that applications will go live on our website. All right, well, we're going to wrap up a little bit early. If anyone has any questions that you want to ask offline or that we didn't get to during the presentation, please use that email and shoot them over to me. Thanks so much for participating today. And there are more great webinars coming up with some really cool topics and wonderful experts. So be sure to visit the Foraker Group website and sign up for those webinars that are yet to come. And in the meantime, I hope to hear from you all soon. Have a great day.